we gon' put this on our bag. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts, facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. Ask J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a real floater, I do what I wanna. Stacking no winners, I'm bathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only pope with your knowledge, your nigga is Paulo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in the drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming it out, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, that's not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, till in the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the rent, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath rap. Facts, fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts, facts.
In my district, harder the mystics, harder for biscuits. Father the isfits, martyr the misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we are the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for tech, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres on acres, get lost in the dark. We playing the part, we playing it smart. Facts, facts.
Okay, the food, the art, the clothes. We put this shit on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, till in the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on my back. Facts, found out the hacks, put it underneath rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts.
It's a movie, it's a movie.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pill. All right, let me adjust this camera. All right. How I sound on the audio? Let me know what the audio is sounding like. We good on the audio? Peace, y'all. Peace. Welcome. Good evening. All right. Peace to everybody pulling up. I'm going to let y'all come into the building, and then we're going to do roll call. You dig? Yeah, all right. Okay, we good? That's a good thing. Yes, indeed. Give me 1 minute. I'm trying to move this banner. All right. Peace, y'all. Peace. Let's do a roll call. Let's see who's in the building, and then we're going to jump right into the show. I know it's a late show. I ain't going to have everybody here all night because I know everybody got shit to do tomorrow and whatnot. Well, we're gonna touch on some things tonight. You dig? We are definitely gonna touch on some things. You know, I just sat through a very intense red pill moment. And that moment was watching the Alex Jones Ye. I was about to say Kanye, the Ye interview. Yes, indeed. And I also, yeah. Somebody said they just saw Blue Pills, Messy Messiah build. Yes, indeed. That was super fire. For everybody watching me tonight, when you finish watching the show, the prelude to this show is Blue Pills. The upload that I have on the page, Blue Pill just did it called The Messy Messiah. Check that out, and he'll put more context into the whole Alex Jones Ye thing. He's even showing video clips because of these censors and copyright and shit like that. I don't know if I'll be able to show video clips of that interview on this show, or even to go to the website and watch clips of it, because I don't know how that copyright thing goes. But I'm gonna play it safe, and we'll just build on it. All right, San Francisco in the building. Belize is in the chamber. Hampton, Virginia is bitch. Chino Hills is in here. Shout out to Chino Hills. New Brunswick, Memphis, Newark, Atlantis. All right. Anderson, Yukon, Alabama in the building. Columbia, South Carolina, Cincinnati checking in. Shout out to Cincinnati. Jonesboro, LA. I already know Charlotte is here. Shout out to Charlotte in the building. You holding it down. PG, Maryland is holding it down. Salute to PG. All right. New Britain, Connecticut. Shout out to New Britain, Connecticut. Shout out to all of the Connecticut fam. Chicago, Los Angeles, Sanford, Norfolk, North Carolina. I see you tapping in. Brooklyn was really good. New Orleans, Brooklyn. We're going to talk about this tonight, Brooklyn. We're going to have a conversation before the night is out. We're going to talk about some Brooklyn things, man. I need Brooklyn to show up so we can have a conversation about these artists and their relevancy. Sagnasky, Saginaw, Austin, Texas, Delaware up in this thing. 415 is here. I see you. Shout out to all of my KT aliens who pulled up last night for the Facts 24 workshop. That was monumental. We had a lot of fun time dropping some information. Big heavy gems. I think we went about 4 hours deep into the night. Definitely we went past the midnight hour. Everybody definitely got what they came for. And it was so fire that we're gonna do a part 2. So the replay is available for anybody that's asking. I got a few emails this morning from people asking me about it. It's on ktluuniversity.com. Make sure you go and check that out. Before the night is over, I'll probably go over there and give you a little preview of something that what we did last night. But once again, shout out to all of the supporters of the Facts 24. And just like I said yesterday in the lecture, you know, the political theater is about to heat up, and the distractions are going to come at you like a ton of bricks. And lo and behold, this shit right here is a shit show of all shit shows. And the political theater has officially begun. People could call that interview with Alex Jones, they're going to have thought pieces on it, and then everybody's going to have their opinion. You're going to see so many people pop out who didn't have anything to say about the Balenciaga thing. Now they're going to say something about Balenciaga because he didn't say something about Balenciaga. They're going to throw him under the bus, disassociate, denounce. I mean, everything, you name it. Put your seatbelts on, because I said it in my initial when I began the workshop in my monologue. I said that I refuse to give my energy, and I refuse to give my time, and I refuse to give my attention to political theater moving into 2024. I already see what's happening. I could read the room. You know, to be honest with you, Kanye West he interjected himself into the political cycle, especially when he went to go have dinner with Donald Trump. And that dinner that he had with Donald Trump, they're using that as a whatchamacallit. They're using that as a clarion call to say, look, Trump is not fit to lead. He's not going to be the favorite in the Republican Party. And he also has a bunch of Republicans turning against him. But like I said, this shit is theater, right? It's theater. It's a reality show. I like A Princess better, but whatever, it's pure theater. I've made the decision that I don't want to be entangled in it. I'm going to reserve my position in these next 2 years as a keen observer, right? And somebody who's able to report what it is that I'm observing from as much of a unbiased and subjective view, and sometimes an objective view, you know what I mean? To give people more of the facts and less of the emotions, facts over emotions. Can I get a witness? Right? When it comes to certain situations, I think that that's the best approach. When you don't put your emotions into this shit. Because I promise you, these people are out here playing a lot of games with your emotions and your feelings. And, what you saw tonight, if you have the chance to watch the Alex Jones interview, you might not know anything that I'm talking about, but I'm sure if you've been on the internet in the past, 2 or 3 hours, you've seen that there's videos going around, and it has Kanye West in a black gimp mask, right? In a black gimp mask. I'm not sure. Let me just show you what the gimp mask looks like. This is one of the Jenners, right? Kardashian sisters. They have some type of Halloween affair, right? And they chose to do dress up in a like this, right? So this is something that the whole family is somewhat into and promote. Rabbit hole on what they call Balenciaga Gate. Oh man, it goes very deep. You dig? It goes very deep. And I promise you, it's a Pandora's box that has opened up, and I doubt that it'll ever close. People are going to continue to go through that box, and they're going to see some things that they probably can't unsee, and even when it comes to that topic and whatnot, of what we see taking place on these highly censored platforms, you almost have to tippy-toe around those subjects. You can't speak on it outwardly. You have to tippy-toe around certain key words. So even when I speak on it as someone in code, I can't really open up and really give the the raw facts or the real information. But I'm gonna let you know from my perspective, it's very like that whole Balenciaga gate, the rabbit hole that shit takes you down. It could be draining. It could be draining because the energy on it is very dark and intense. And as you get deeper down the hole, your perception begins to change because you have to prepare yourself to open doors and whatnot, that you may see some things that you cannot unsee. You understand what I'm saying? It's a dark slope. It's a slippery slope, and it's a very dark slope. Henceforth, why a lot of that material is on the dark web, right? It's on the dark web. According to Ye in the interview that I saw today, he was trying to deflect from a question about Balenciaga and does he support it. His deflection part was, well, I would say, once again, I have to be the observer, right? So I'm just going to say what he said without interjecting my my opinion on what it is he said. I'll cover that later. So they asked him, how do you know, because first of all, let me just get into my reporter mode. We've done all of the shout outs and everything. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hit the Cash App, support the channel, support independent media, new media, KTL University. Go ahead and check out some of the latest and greatest titles that we've done. If you really want to understand what's going on right now, go and check out Ye Are Gods. All right, that's a monumental presentation that I did with Blue Pill just about a month ago. And Blue Pill in particular, he has his finger on the pulse. If anybody caught Melanin Monday, which was a few days ago, Blue was going in on Ye. And he was explaining that he's at the point right now where he's crashing out, going into the month of December, right? He's beginning to spiral, and he's on a mission. He's on a mission to either martyr himself, or, like he said, he's willing to put a lot of things on the line. So what you saw today, for the people that saw the interview, and for those who have not seen it, you're probably like in the dark. But I'm going to be as descriptive as possible to bring you into the light. Okay. Matter of fact, as I talk about it, I could just go and visit that page, and you could probably go ahead. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the character in Alex Jones, correct? Right? Many people are either familiar with him through his work of being a fearmongerer, a very contradictory character, an agent of the state, an agent provocateur, right? Agent provocateur would fit him very comfortably. I saw him go full right radical over the years. I remember him during the Bush administration. He changes like the colors on a peacock, or rather his production or his executive staff, the people that write for him. I remember he has like some metal companies that are behind him and whatnot. But that's that Texas Austin crowd, and we know what they're up to, right? We know what they're about. And if we don't know what they're about, just pay attention. He's a horrible host, first and foremost. This was a horrible, I saw so many infractions that Alex Jones, as an interviewer and a host, right, displayed. And I picked up on it, and I was like, this man is disgusting, bro. The way that he was gaslighting, the way he sets his questions up and then says, what do you think about it? The way that he blatantly ignored this man's request when he gave him his phone and told him to tweet. He told him exactly what to write. He looked at him and then pressed send. The way that he would cut to commercials and have a 10-minute commercial promoting him. The way that he kept being the quote unquote, he was calling everybody on the show crazy. Oh, we're all crazy. This is a rebel rouser. This is somebody who got sued for $1 billion, right? For saying that the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax. This is somebody who weaponized his platforms many of times against of people of all backgrounds and all walks of life, including young melanin people, the hip hop culture, people like the Trayvons of the world and whatnot. This man is not what you would consider to be a friend of the truth, right? He's highly suspect, and he was showing, you know, and it's not a race thing. It's not I'm just saying as a with integrity and what you can see that shows through the camera and people's, you know, the way that they handle their guests, the way that they disseminate their information. He did say some fly shit about the Ethiopians that he read from Google and whatnot. I mean, that's something that they all should be reading. We all should be, you know, supplying these platforms with some of their talking points and their research as well. And they should read from it. Shit, especially if they have one of us on their platform as a host. I'm coming with a whole stack of facts that you must read by verbatim with the overhead camera on it while I'm sitting right there. If you want to have a conversation with me, but you're not going to gaslight. You ain't going to get me caught up. There's some points that Ye made even in the interview, and if he had the data to back up some of the claims that he was making, it would sound a little more less, brash. It was very, oh man, this was a red pill moment that, you know, people use the word red pill very lightly, and I'm not being egotistical and talking about myself, not me particular, not Phil Moreland, not Mr. Red Pillar, not Red Pill. I'm talking about the red pill moment, right? And also he trolled a super troll, bro. Damn, I should have my sound effects set up. This is one of these sound effect shows, but I don't want y'all to get distracted. Y'all can add your own sound effects. I know he got to get that lawsuit money up. He was going super thirsty to get that motherfucker. He was selling all kind of supplements, my nigga. This nigga was, his shit was like Alibaba. He's selling everything. I'm not gonna get into the rant of why does Ye go on multiple. He wearing that mask of the Gimp. He showed me something that I needed to see, because, like I said, the fashion gate, it was eventually Balenciaga gate, and it turned into fashion gate, right? So fashion gate opened up my eyes to some shit that I probably was not willing to see, involving the relationship or the closeness, right? You can't be that close and your hands ain't dirty, bro. The closeness that homie got with the brand, and thus everything that he was saying about his daughter, everything that he was saying about, you know, the demonic shit going on, like he's having an Isaac moment. You know what I mean? I think he's being eaten up by some shit that he was involved in some of his guilt, right? Because think about it, and now I'm going from this place of observation. I'm being an observer. This is what I'm observing. If you are in those powerful circles inside of what they know is highly weird, and you've been compromised through the medical establishment by somebody or somebodies who have, you know, modified your behavior with what is known as psychotropics, right? Wait a minute. Do you think some shit like that, and then you think if you put a person like that around a room full of vultures, which those people naturally are, you don't think they're gonna try you? You don't think they finna try? You don't think they tried that nigga? Because he's getting the whole Gimp thing brought me back to the Gimp in Pulp Fiction, right? Let me share the picture. The Gimp took me back to the whole depiction of Tarantino when he showed Ving Rhames getting violated, right, in Pulp Fiction, right? And that scene with the Gimp. And the fact that this man, Ye, has aligned himself with an incel in Nick Fuentes and an alleged, weirdo in Milo. And all he does ever since the situation on Drink Champs is he lets these incels, right, pass him around from platform to platform to platform to platform to platform, like how the Gimp gets passed around and whatnot in Pulp Fiction. He lets these platforms pimp him. He lets these platforms, he's using these platforms to either project. He's using these platforms to, what it appears to me, because when he made the statement about the people who are quote unquote persecuted the most in America is the white male, right? That shit set off an alarm in my head. I'm like, hold on, where did I hear that before? Oh, he's repeating these talking points from the Nick Fuentes of the world and whatnot. He's repeating some of these talking points of a segment of their incel movement or their red pill movements and whatnot. Okay. And then immediately after that, he starts popping up with all of these white fragilicists and these other people from that side who obviously began to reach out to him when they heard that dog whistle. So he's like in Gimp mode right now. He's just popping up on these platforms. And Alex Jones was playing a lot of games in that interview. Mr. Controversy, Mr. Free Speech. He kept trying to sway from the subject. He was doing a Noriega on InfoWars. So they get up there and they start having a conversation, right? Ye has on this Balenciaga mask that Kim Kardashian was wearing in some of her photo shoots and things of that nature. Hold on, let me see something. I'm gonna upload some pictures and whatnot. And Ye is up there. He has the Nick Fuentes guy, right? Who I said this all the way in the video where the first video I did when I was in the Royal Chambers, when he had popped up and on the Drink Champs. From watching the Drink Champs interview, I saw the spam. They had bots in the chat talking about Nick Fuentes for vice president. I'm talking about they spammed the shit out of that chat room during the live broadcast. So that picked up my attention, and I was like, Spirit told me, yeah, they're about to link up. They're gonna pull one of those vice president runs, and lo and behold, this is the dude that he's running with and whatnot. And they're already talking about him being Ye's vice president, and he's a worker. He the fact that he's sitting there and giving dude, that type of platform. That shit is a little interesting, So yeah, son, and let me just preface this whole conversation before I even begin. There was a lot of truths that was dropped. There was a lot of truths that was said. There was a lot of red pills. Like I said, this was the red pill moment maybe of the year. Right? Once again, from an observer's point of view, okay? From an observer's point of view, just like an owl on a branch, this is a red pill moment, okay? A lot of the things that were said is shock and awe. it's equivalent to what a Howard Stern or a shock jock would do back in their days. He's on his show trolling. It seems that every show that he goes on, there's a level of trolling taking place and whatnot. He's being, he is almost like the Joker in a sense. I know Blue touched on that whole Joker vibe and whatnot. He's self-destructing, and while self-destructing, baiting, right? Baiting in a sense, and self-destructing in one sense, reaching out for martyrdom in another sense. He said that he wanted to meet his mama, right? Basically announcing that he's ready to crash out. Exactly what Blue Pill said what was going to happen. He called it. He was able to see it. That he has to sacrifice, he has to burn out. He got to crash out. He is the blood sacrifice that he says that he wants to be. He wants to be the sacrifice. So people are going to take what he said and do more research, and to dig a little bit deeper. He wants something. He's putting himself on that cross, and he's daring, the brother, man, questions will be asked about, is he on his meds? Right? Questions will be asked, is the man on the meds? And people will be like, nah, that nigga's off his medication, bro, because that shit right there. That shit right there. He was wigging. He was saying some shit. Let me play a little clip of it real quick. Let me go to the beginnings.
When people look at pornography, when a grown man is looking at a grown woman have sex on camera, you're still looking at someone's daughter, and you're looking at a lot of times someone that is the product of pedophilia. So people will engage in going to strip clubs or looking at pornography, but then the moral compass is like, oh my God, look at the pedophiles. But in a way, anybody who looks at pornography is a form of a pedophile also. Let's bank it all in. It's very simple. We're not going to be talking about all this moral code and these standards right here. It's either Christ said so or Christ said no.
Yay, powerful information. I totally agree with you. Back in 60 seconds, to join over 400 radio stations. Nick Fuentes in studio. Everybody, tell everybody tune in now, Infowars.com/show. Let's break the internet today. Stay with us.
There you go. Yeah. We'll go back and watch another clip in a minute, right? To add context to what he was saying in that clip that I just played. He admitted that his relationship with his wife, was somewhat ruined because of his porn addiction, right? Kanye said that Chris Paul was smashing Kim. He was saying that he allowed, and of course he's coming from the standpoint of a good Christian, right? A reformed Christian. And people always get real religious when shit goes to the left. And I'm not judging this man in his devotion and things of that nature. However, he did admit that lust, right? Lust ruined his marriage. The fact that he was not in control of the flesh, right? And he allowed lust and other things to take him away from his whiz, right? And of course, who he said is behind the industry of pornography. Dumb folks, dumb people, okay? Dumb people.
Ye has arrived in a new ensemble here with us, but I'll assure you it is Ye. Ye, thank you so much for coming to Austin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, where would you like to start? This first little 5-minute segment is just kind of a prelude to what's coming up. What do you want to cover here today?
Just God runs the world, and Jesus is the way and the life. And it's time to put Jesus first in the way that we run our businesses, the way we run our families, our businesses, and the way we run our country.
For radio listeners, we're on over 400 radio stations. They can't see you right now. This is a new look for you.
Oh no, I've been wearing a mask for a while.
Ah,
yeah.
So this is an archetypal example that the mask is off by putting the mask on.
People can take it how they want to take it. It's just, it's interesting if you look at a Michael Jordan or something, you would load up all these pictures and he's smiling and he's holding a basketball, he's jumping from the free throw line, and then you look at Phil Knight, and you barely can see a picture of him, and he's got his face covered. So I don't have to show my face. It's me. That's my right.
Absolutely. Well, that's
to say, okay, I've been messed over enough by Jewish businessmen to get to the point to say, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not the first person that got debanked because of their political opinion. And I represent now the common man. When we go, I don't like the word if, when we go into the White House, it's us now. It's not about specifically an icon or DeSantis.
But it's issues.
Yeah, it's about the issue. Jews in America.
Yeah, stay there. Nick Fuentes' studio. This is uncensored, folks. We're going to come back after this break, and we're going to come back into the break and play a George Soros compilation of him on NPR. It's only a few minutes.
Don't forget about me.
Him on NPR and him on 60 Minutes saying the best time of his life was
them. And by all appearances, this wasn't an accident. It seems to be another demoralizing psyop.
The Balenciaga stuff just gets worse and worse. Check this out.
The people that recruited all of the models for Balenciaga's runway show was a woman called Rachel Chandler, who has been on Jeffrey Epstein's island. She's even posted a picture on Instagram of CCTV footage back in 2013, bragging about being on an island.
This stuff's got me wondering if all high-end fashion brands are just fronts for human trafficking.
University, whether I was there or not, I was only a spectator. The property was being taken away. So I had no role in taking away that property. So I had no sense of guilt.
Are you religious?
No.
Do you believe in God?
No.
That's George Soros.
all right. My mission here today is to offer the First Amendment, because as long as you're not carrying out violence against someone or asking people to be violent, like the left's asked people to burn down cities and attack Republicans and
Okay. I can't play this shit all day, you feel me? But like I say, it's a very interesting interview. It's maybe the red pill moment of 2022. I said it before. Like I said earlier, my hands is clean. I already put it out there since about a week ago when I started my Facts 24 campaign. I'm not going to really feed this shit. The political theater is coming, and it's going to be the distraction of all distractions. And we're in the shit show right now. I think I might name this episode Welcome to the Shit Show, right? We're in the middle of this shit show. We're at the beginning of a shit show. And he is definitely part of the shit show, right? Like I said, the dinner that he had with Donald Trump, that started him in the quote, that was him, and that was his entry into the political theater, right? By him tying in with Trump the same way that he tied in with him in the 2016 when he just got elected and he was doing a transition. And then Kanye came out of the mental hospital with pink hair, right? looking like dude from Get Out. He was completely spaced out and whatnot, swollen face, and then he pulled up on Trump, and the rest is history, right? So now he pulls up on Trump to have a dinner. He brings Nick Fuentes with him, the same incel that you'll see on Alex Jones' show, sitting there with him. What appears to be like a handler at this moment. Once again, he's the Gimp, right? He's the Gimp. So he's the Boule, he's a Boule prototype in a sense. As disheartening as it is, I see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Same way how they have the Boule as Gimps. They'll talk all of that shit, bro. Religion. They have Black Power uncles and shit. They make sense. They're super talented. All of these things. But there's still some hooks on them. He had a prayer today. He had a prayer in the video, and he was going heavy on the Yahshua and the Yahweh shit. I would love for one of those interviewers to ask him, since he's on the ledge already going crazy, with not even going crazy, just red pill and shit. You know what I mean? This is red pill rhetoric that you're seeing. He's going full red pill. Full red pill. People they say he's going full red pill. He made fun of the Israeli president, Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a very dangerous man. But he said what people are afraid to say. You know what I mean? He said he was going after Ari Emanuel and Rahm Emanuel, who are also some very dangerous, powerful, wicked men. And he's like, I got strong enemies, right? I got strong enemies, calling them handlers. One, the brother Ari Emanuel, who the entourage, that character that you saw, Ari Gold, that was him in Entourage, one of the most powerful power players in Hollywood. And then Rahm Emanuel, who was next to Obama. And then he was the mayor in Chicago, another very powerful person with their hands all in politics. But it's political theater, y'all. That's the best thing that I could say. It's political theater. You dig? It's political theater. He is a disruptor. He's almost like a virus in his matrix in a sense. He's doing what he's supposed to do, right? He's doing what he was doing, what he was sent there to do. Don't think him infiltrating that Nick Fuentes, Milo, 4chan, 8chan, incel, white supremacist, white fragility movement. He's gonna go ahead and go rogue on that as well. He'll go rogue on Christianity by stepping out and declaring that Christ is black or something. It's theater, y'all. It's theater. You have the choice to be caught up in that shit or to focus on you and yours. You did? You have the option to get caught up in that shit or to focus on your businesses, to focus on income streams, to focus on having fun, to focus on experiencing life. Not to say that this shit is going to stop you from doing that at all. It isn't. But in this theater, this political theater, and also this stage that the entertainers stand on, this is also a tragedy. It's also theater. This is like an opera. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's already been written. It's already been written as to what's going to happen. So you're seeing it in real time. And it's uncomfortable. And it could be uncomfortable. It could be real, quote unquote, you know, real like triggering in a sense. Yeah, definitely the Truman Show. It could be triggering in a sense because you'd be like screaming at the screen, like, nah, don't do that. Don't go there. Don't chill with him. Right? Like when, you know, it goes back to trust, doesn't it? Wasn't that a theme? The ones around you who you think are your friends are really there to stab you in the back. We saw that with the case from the sister in North Carolina, right? We saw that with the takeoff situation in Houston with the princes. We see that right now with Ye and the platforms that he go, everybody that he pops up around, nobody is his friend. Pusha T turned his back on him. You feel me? His right hand, dude that he was warring with against Aubrey, Pusha T turned his back on him. Nowhere that he goes, when we see him on film, is he directly surrounded by anybody. I'd rather him be with Chike and Cootie right now. But everywhere that he goes, all of the platforms that he gets on, there's a snake in the grass. He has to get up and walk out. He doesn't get his point across in the right way. They trying to line him up to apologize because they low-key scared and whatnot. And they were cosplaying, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not cosplaying. I'm going in." And they like, "Nah, I'm not. We just doing this for to sell supplements and get Facebook and YouTube checks." But he's ready to go. You know, I see the signs, bro. He's ready to go. You know, he's definitely not attached to the idea and the concept of heaven on earth in the flesh. And it's like, yo, you know, I'm gonna crash out. You dig? And the boy crashing out right now. But like I said, a broken clock is right twice a day, and it's not like everything that he's saying is halal. You know what I'm talking about? He's just saying what a lot of people are scared to say. Once again, a red pill moment, right? A red pill moment where you have a glitch in the matrix. That's what it looks like in a sense. The glitch in the matrix, right? The red pill moment, okay? Going against the program all the way damn near. I mean, there's more that could be done, but he's headed there. Back in the booth, condolences. You know. So it's crazy. But you know, points were made on his interview for the people who are looking for points. Definitely was dropping some points. You did. Definitely dropping some points. You know, he was red pilling. He was rolling out red pills. He was waking people up. He was giving people stuff to go and research. You know, he was saying things about Hitler that you don't necessarily hear people say or that you're not supposed to say. You know? He said, bring him home, Red. Yeah, he got to bring himself home. You dig? But he's definitely glitching, you know. And it's in front of the world, and everybody gets to be in the Coliseum or the theater, you know. But he trolled the shit out of Alex Jones. I know that much. And you should have seen his face. Then they had these other people on there, you know, and it was just like, you know, we saw this with the. It reminded me of the Aaliyah movie, Queen of the Damned, when she had the vampires all around the queen and they were sucking on her and biting on her. Like, that's some of the shit that I'm seeing is giving Gimp. Is giving Gimp from Pulp Fiction, my niggas. It's definitely giving Gimp. These people around this dude, I'm like, it just don't look right. You dig? He don't know who he got around him. He's not aware of his surroundings. He's moving. He ain't moving right. You know, I'm gonna call it like I see it. I'm not gonna hold back what I see. Like I said, observation, right? Remove the emotions. I don't want to talk about the albums or the music. I'm just talking about what I observe. I'm like, nah, niggas is not moving right. You know? And I ain't gonna get caught up in the fact that somebody might be red pilling and dropping some facts that, you know, people know and whatnot. There's some other shit going on underneath the mask. So there's an outrage about, you know, the whole Hitler thing with Ye, right? And we're not gonna drag other people into this because I don't want it to seem like I'm dry snitching. But there's been adoration for Hitler and his name in hip hop in the culture over the past few years, and nobody had a problem with that. You know, nobody had a problem with that. And at the end of the day, you know, is this the beginning? Is this a rise of the thought police? You know, is this a rise of the thought police? Are you going to be persecuted based off of what you think? Is what you think going to be is going to make you designated to be somebody in mental health, right? Because they got a law today about to pass in New York City that the mayor, who used to be a police lieutenant, he was a big shot in the motherfucking NYPD. He's proposing that they remove people with mental health issues, right, against their will off of the streets and the subway stations of New York City, effective immediately, right? Mayor Adams is going to war against Gotham City, right? So I want to give you a little bit of not the homeless, but the mental health patients who happen to be the homeless, right? That's the way to get the homeless out of there, right? So let me pull this shit up. Yeah, Mayor Adams, your man's in them. He trying to do some draconian shit in New York City, right? It's Hegelian dialect, right? It's the Hegelian dialect. It's like, damn, you paying all of that rent in New York City. You not trying to see no homeless people in the streets picking in their ass. I'm talking about they doing all kind of shit. I documented this on this show, right? In early 2020, right? Before I left New York City, I documented what was taking place in the streets, right? In the belly of that beast. I was like, yo, I'm out of here. This shit right here, these niggas is going crazy, right? Then when I went back into New York City on some Escape from New York, Snake Plissken type of shit, right? And I had to break into the city during the lockdown. I really saw the conditions of what was going on in the city and whatnot. I was like, thank you for the cash app. I appreciate your support. I was like, damn, this brother, you know what I mean? These brothers right here, this city, this shit is really turning into Gotham. It immediately fast forward me or rewinded my tape to remind me of what I saw in the river, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie when he was in Gotham City, and the mental asylums were basically in the streets. It was madness out there, supersized rats, right? Takashi, all kind of shit. That at that point you didn't see that in New York because New York was on an upward mobility. New York violence was down, the way of life was becoming, it was beginning to improve slightly. There was some promise, and then COVID happened. The drill shit blew up. Drill music blew up. COVID hit, and the city collapsed. And then they had the George Floyd situation that really spiraled the city and whatnot. During this time, because they needed hospital beds and because they needed to work on them ventilators and blow people's lungs out and whatnot, they began to empty out the insane asylums because in New York City, there's an insane asylum called Ward's Island, directly off of Harlem. There's a whole island with a mental institution on it, and it's called Ward's Island, right? And there's a bus right there on Lexington and 125th Street that takes you in and out of Ward's Island. You can't go over there. I don't know how you can get over there, but you get over there on a public bus, and you can also drive over there. And they began to kick those people out of the mental institutions, and they filtered from 125th Street and places like Harlem into the subway system, and then they have been able to spread throughout New York City, mixing in with the homeless and people who are addicted to very hard drugs like heroin and crack that they do openly now. They're in the subway station. The subway station looked like Amsterdam. You know what I'm talking about? The subway system looks like Amsterdam. The shit looks crazy. So the violence is up on the subways, and there's all kind of backward shit going on. And of course, the mayor comes in and says, look, we're going to involuntarily hospitalize the homeless people, right? New York City, Eric Adams is facing backlash after moving forward with a host of policy changes that crack down on the city's homeless population. On Tuesday, Adams announced officials would begin hospitalizing more homeless people by involuntarily providing care to those deemed to be in psychiatric crisis. For too long, there has been a gray area where policy, law, and accountability have not been clear. This has allowed people in need to slip through the cracks, Adams said. This culture of uncertainty has led to untold suffering and deep frustrations. It cannot continue. And for months, Adams and his administration have discussed stopping unhoused people from sheltering in subways. Despite pending budget cuts, they will remove services the city provides to the homeless. At least 470 people were reportedly arrested this year for being outstretched or taking up more than one seat on a train car. In March, the authorities targeted those living underneath the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway in Williamsburg, while Adams reportedly attended an event promoting a Wells Fargo credit card people can use to pay rent. Adam grew criticism from advocates for homeless people. Mayor Adams continues to get it wrong when it comes to his reliance on ineffective surveillance, policing, and involuntarily transport and treatment of people with mental illness, right? So you get the picture. Son is out there saying, look, we're going to deem, right? Because this is where the slippery slope comes in, right? I'm sure, like I said, it's Hegelian because you know that there's a lot of people who want to clean up the blight of what's taking place in places like Skid Row, New York City, Philadelphia, and everywhere else where there's a homeless population. I believe Oakland as well. So they like, yo, I'm paying all of this rent in New York City. Get these niggas the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm talking about? And you know the attitude of a New Yorker. They're going to be like, get them the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. We're going to turn a blind eye. Do what thou wilt. Do whatever you have to do to put them in these mental facilities. And who knows where they're going when they start renditioning people. Not to sound all conspiratorial. However, what? This is what they've done before. So then after they start scooping them up, then they could be like, yo, dude on Twitter is out there dropping too much information. Oh, nah, we're deeming him crazy. They could stop a Moore in their vehicle who's like, nah, I don't have what y'all call a driver's license. I'm a traveling man. They could deem them. They could have somebody who's basically speaking the truth that they don't agree with and exposing. They could put them in the thing. They could roll up on the Hebrew Israelites and say, look, y'all are deemed to be a hate group by the ADL and other places, and they could grab them up. They could stop somebody on 125th Street from speaking their speech. You get the picture, right? It's a Pandora's box that once opened, it could have some dire consequences, right? Then you have the thought police. Then you have the motherfucking precogs where they're like, yo, we have technology that could predict that you niggas is about to go crazy. You don't have the shot, you don't have the jabbing tent. You could be closer to that motherfucking identification of being rendition. You know what I mean? There's so many things because, of course, they're not going to roll everything out at first. The same way that this week they approved in San Francisco the use of lethal force with the robots. Come on, fam. Come on, fam. You know what that means? Do you know the first time that they used a lethal robot in America was to kill Mika X, who was the gunman who opened up allegedly he opened up fire at a BLM march, right? Think about this. 7 police officers got killed at a BLM rally in 2017, 7/7/2017 in Dallas by Mika X, allegedly. They brought in a robot to kill him, right? They brought a robot in to drop a bomb, and then the robot rolled up in there, dropped the bomb, and then killed them, right? This is a story that they don't want to be told because he actually claimed that he martyred, right? Meaning that he put his life on the line and he shed blood, right? And he died for the cause of martyrdom. And he had a list of what was previously victims who became martyrs because that's how it works, right? Allegedly, that's what I was told, right? One of my teachers in school who happened to be Jewish, that's what he told me. This is how martyrs were made historically. They put their heads on the chopping block. They gave up the husk, right? They sacrificed themselves. That's what he did. And he martyred Philando Castile. He said, I'm doing this for them. Mike Brown, Alton Sterling, and I believe it was Freddie Gray. I could be wrong, but he sent about 7 of them up. And then after that, Gavin Long, aka Satin Ra, in Baton Rouge, where Boozy from, Gavin Long, he took about 4 with him, and he was also on his martyrdom shit. But that's another story. We'll talk about that. That what gave rise to the BIE, Black Identity Extremists, right? The only worst title after anti-Semite that they could put on you in this new culture war or this new crusades, this video game that they out here playing and whatnot, this theater. Remember? Because even with BIE, it was politicized. It was the same person who did the Donald Trump Russian collusion, Robert Mueller. He was the author of the memo that spoke of the BIE, because when them niggas popped off, I don't want to call them niggas, I apologize. When those martyrs popped off, it was a threesome, right? It was homie in Brooklyn. Got to talk about the trinity of the martyrs, right? The blood that was spilled, right? On some, when you talk about this holy war that's going on right in front of your faces, the blood that was spilled, it was a trifecta. It was a brother who came up, I believe, underneath York, right? In Brooklyn, okay? Allegedly, these are alleged, right? This is what we were told through the news or the mainstream media. Okay, he put 2 of them. He came from Baltimore on a bus. He had a domestic situation where I believe he killed or he shot one of his ex-girlfriends, and then he came to Brooklyn into Bed-Stuy. And he walked up to 2 police officers in their car, and he gave both of them headshots, right? And then he subsequently lost his life in the train station, I believe in a barrage of bullets from police officers. Then the next one was Mika Johnson on 7/7/17, right there in Dallas at a BLM march. Now keep in mind, you heard about Charlottesville. You heard about where one woman, Heather, I forgot her last name, she was ran over and killed. You've also heard about other situations, but they don't talk about the Dallas shit no more. They buried that story. They don't want you to know about that story. That story was the beginning of the quote unquote robots, RoboCops, right? Or what they call land drones. Write that down. Land drones. So where they have predator drones in the quote unquote Gulf War. Let me get some of this Delta 8. You know what I mean? This is some Delta 8, So they had land drones. So the land drone was the robot that came in and basically blew that man up because they were having such a hard time stopping him, right? That they was like, yo, we need some type of assistance, because they said he was military trained and whatever he was doing, they couldn't keep up with him. Let me show you real quick. So this is a teacher moment. We're gonna learn some things, right? Some of us haven't been taught these things, right? So in 2016, right? So it added up to 7. Okay, my bad. So it was 777. The ritual was 777 because 16 adds up to 7. 1 and 6 adds up to 7. So they say July 8th, but it was really July 7th. All right. the news came out the next day of what happened on July 8th, but the situation right there on July 7th. So on 7/7/7, Mika Xavier Johnson ambushed a group of police in Dallas, Texas, shooting and killing 5 officers and injuring 9 others. 2 civilians was wounded, right? The shooting happened at the end of a protest against the killings of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Philandro Castile in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, right? It's cold in Minnesota, right? Which had occurred in the preceding days, right? The shooting was the deadliest incident for U.S. law enforcement since September 11th, right? Surpassing the ones in Oakland in November. And the November ambush shooting. Let me see. I want to go to the robot, right? Because it's important that we know about these land drones and what they are about to implement. Because, of course, once they approve it for one state, what makes you think that they're not going to approve it for many other states? What makes you think that there won't be a presidential candidate that's going to run like a Trump, who has to go super duper hardline, right? Which year was Chris Donner? I'll pull that up in a minute too. They got to go. Yeah, he bodied 12 on film, right? He was bodying them on film. So body camera video showed the pursuant. They had it like a standoff and shit. Nah, fuck that. Let me go and show you. Who knows? Who remember X-Men, Bishop and what's my name? Cable, Bishop and Cable, right? Remember Bishop? It was giving Bishop when I saw it. I'm like, this nigga probably came from the future or something on some X-Men shit and was on some Punisher type vibe. And they had to bring in a robot. Like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of crazy. But I want to show you the robot. So they already have implemented RoboCops in lethal force. Call it a land drone, right? So just keep in mind that this is what they are pushing. And when I see the story pop up, I automatically correlate it to this story because this is where they cut the teeth.
These are the first set of doors that he opened up on, and this is the doorway where my 2 officers were injured. And so these are the doors where the gun rail is from the second door. Adam, it's actually through this, taking cover behind them, and he opened fire on them. So this is where the standoff ended. This passageway, as you can see, very narrow. There's no way for an officer to get in here. And make approach on the subject. So that's why the decision was made to do it mechanically. So that's where, and to make approach on the subject. So that's why the decision was made to do it mechanically. And to make approach on the subject.
Wait, let me let it load up for a minute. Now, these people that went to war in Iraq, you know what I'm saying? They done fought ISIS. You know, they done fought the Mexican cartel and all kind of shit. You mean to tell me that they don't have the tactical training to stop somebody around the corner?
Was made to do it mechanically. The subject was hiding in this corner.
I feel like it's some type of ritual. I feel like somebody got set up You know what I mean?
In here, the robot was dispatched down this passageway and delivered the device.
See how it blew that whole room up? So you dealing with shit like that. Like how a predator drone will blow a spot up. Okay, that's enough. So there you have it. You know, I'm just giving you some insight as to what these people are implementing, not to put anybody in no type of fear and whatnot. That shit don't even apply to you. You don't got robots coming after you. However, this is the future of law enforcement, probably leading into 2024, especially with these candidates going super gun ho. Donald Trump has to go super duper right wing. He has to go to the extreme. He's going to use the theater of the yay situation, those talking points. They're going to rally against all kind of shit. And it's going to be all theater. It's going to be high contradiction, right? Very contradictory. You're going to see people pointing fingers who are ultimately, it's like if Donald Trump points a finger at a white supremacist and tries to act like him having dinner with a white supremacist is, a setup or something, or what he considers to be egregious, that's a crock of shit. And if you fall for some stupid ass, some bad theater like that, or some reality show type of remix, then I don't know what to say to you. But I'm just showing you, it's all script. I mean, this is all a crock of shit, bro. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. But these distractions have consequences. But let's switch the topic. Because, like I said, Blue Pill, he covered more of this story, and he has a great perspective. I would definitely encourage everybody watching me right now to subscribe to this channel, and it will probably be recommended as the next video that you see, okay? And check out some of the other videos that we did leading up to today's go and watch Melanin Monday. You'll get a better understanding and some better context about what it is that is, going on and whatnot. I want to play this real quick because I don't want to cause, any confusion with the family. But we talk hip hop on this show, right? We talk culture on this show. We're cultural connoisseurs on this show. We talk about hip hop in a way where we could be objective, subjective observers, right? So a clip came to me earlier. I woke up, I went on Twitter. This was trending. I clicked on it. I saw it the night before. I didn't even want to watch it because the thumbnail, the way the boozy face was looking, I was like, I don't even want to hear what he got to say because he's looking real sour in the face and whatnot. So I got on Twitter and I clicked on it, and this, I'm going to let y'all see it. Here we go.
I think he. Jay-Z's not relevant this day for music. I think he is. I don't think he is. I think he is. I don't think Jay-Z's relevant this day for me. I don't. Okay, so if you're gonna say Jay-Z relevant and Nas ain't relevant, no. No.
Okay. So let's put it like this. Do you think if Jay-Z dropped a brand new
I'm
album
not.
right now?
No. Just like when I go to these clubs in Atlanta, you know, these 25 to 35 clubs, I'm not hearing Nas. I'm not hearing Jay-Z. Every club I go in is not one or the other, Vlad. I'm in the city. I'm outside. I'll be everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna have some commentary on that clip because I put it on my IG. And if people are unfamiliar with how social media works, I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown on how social media works because we're talking about different platforms that work under different rules. They have different algorithms. Okay. So let me share something with you about how social media is intended on working. And if you were to utilize certain formulas, you could see how it works for you. Social media is a platform, especially Instagram, where you have the opportunity to engage your audience, right? You have the opportunity to engage your audience and you're able to do a multitude of things in that engagement, right? One of the perks of like the free economy, which is, you know, Instagram, Facebook, these are companies that have a business model to where your contribution is done for free, right? You don't got to pay. The internet web 1.0, they were charging subscriptions and things of that nature, and you know they had paywalls and it didn't work. So when they rolled out the free economy, you didn't have to pay a thing. You paid with your attention, you paid with your retention, you paid with your eyeballs, you paid with your time. Okay, you pay in the way that they became trillionaires, right? Look at this business model. It's called the free economy, and it gave birth to multi-trillion-dollar companies, something that has never occurred in this country of America. And the data is what made them the trillionaires, right? So as you are on these sites, your data is being mined. Time that you spent, the clicks, the places that you go, your connections, your friends, the stories you react to, all of this stuff is gold. So if I'm on there, shit, I'm going to get my interaction on and I'm going to take the temperature of people and I'm going to find out where people's minds are. And I'm going to see what my audience and my quote unquote following, you know, what they think. Because I'm very always interested in what people think. And you have to engage. And sometimes you got to poke the bees, the bee nest. And ruffle a few feathers and ask a few questions. And then you get that data, which is gold. If you know what to do with it, then you know what to do with it. So I put it on my Instagram page and we were talking and there was a lot of perspectives. People had a lot of, you know, oh, this was what I heard. You know, Boozy is telling the truth. Nobody is listening to Jay-Z and Nas down south. That shit don't get no spin in the clubs that I be in. I don't hear nobody bumping their music and whatnot. Nobody down south fuck with that. And while I could say I definitely agree with what you have to say, you are absolutely correct. You know, you're gonna know your environment more than I will. However, the term relevant, right, doesn't necessarily apply to the fact that you're being played in a club or in a car. Because when you reach a certain level of relevance in this culture, right, even if they don't hear your music in the car, they know who you are. Even though they don't play your music in the club, how is it every move that you make, they know about it? And it just so happens in every club, the liquor that they buy in is owned by this man. the champagne that they're buying is owned by this man. And if you happen to have that champagne in your hand while you turn it up to boozy, right? Motherfuckers would be like, you got some relevancy. Damn, I wish I had my bombs. That's a fact. That's called ace of spades. You go in the club and get 10 ace of spades and see how your relevancy changes and whatnot. He's in the club with you, boozy. He just not, he's had graduated from the motherfucking club banger and whatnot. The nigga's 50 years old, goddammit. You not gonna be in the club at 50 years old, but you in the club. And your relevancy is in the brands called Duce and motherfucking Ace of Spades, nigga. That runs the club. What are you talking about? The relevancy is on another level, young man. He's not on the chitlin circuit. He's not scrapping. He's not asking people to watch their movies. And once again, I'm not here. I'm not a paid Jay-Z consultant, right? I'm giving you an observation from somebody who's trying to be as non-biased as possible, right? Because it doesn't matter about how I feel about an artist. It don't even matter if I'm like, yo, this artist is, you know, morally unethical and all of that stuff. But I could easily sit back and be like, hold on, that statement that you're making, it has flaws to it. Remember, Jay-Z's so relevant that he don't got to be on Vlad. This young man is under the impression that because he's not seeing Jay-Z every day or every week, that the man is not relevant. But how does every single artist, I don't care young or old, or everybody who listens to hip hop, nigga, you know who Jay-Z and Nas is. You can't act like, oh, they not playing it in the juke joints, they not playing it in the strip clubs. You know what they're playing in the strip clubs, though? You know what this young man is trying to say is going to make you relevant, and it raises relevant in the same culture that people are crying about because it took away Takeoff and PNB and a few others. They playing dope boy music. They playing gangbanging music. They playing prostitution, pussy popping music. They playing dope fiend music, dope dealing music, jack boy music, and a whole bunch of other shit that, you know, they got Saucy Santana in the club. So it's like, you know what? If that's the criteria of relevant, if that's the criteria of what you deem to be what the youth is into, then goddamn it. And if a man who happens to be married, who happens to have children, who happens to have multiple businesses, who happens to have a label where those artists, although they have their challenges, they are all successful in multiple businesses. And then you have another artist in Nas who is very successful in terms of his investments and things that he has done to get out the streets to make him more relevant than any young artist, because he has a story, and people who are young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter. A story is a story. I would rather look at the success story or the trajectory of a Nas, a Nasir Jones, before somebody tries to sell me a reformed dope dealer whose claim to fame is selling dope. And then, you know, he's just reformed. But it's like, you know, the reformity doesn't outweigh the motherfucking dirt that he did, though. You know what I mean? He's giving out chickens and turkeys and whatnot, and they're like, oh, this is a reformed dope dealer. But it's like, where's your 20 years or your 10 years of the reform of the work that's being done? You know what I mean? I'm talking about the overload, because when you was doing that other shit, you was going in. So I understand fully what Boozy is saying, like, yo, he's not played down in the South, and that's cool. You know, that's cool shit. But I know when I was in the South in 1997, in Atlanta to be exact, where there was that was a year where he was very dominant in the music industry. I believe it was Volume 3, and he came to the AUC and he shut that shit down. Then he popped back up on a hard knock life tour with DMX, and he shut down packed stadiums in Atlanta. And then I remember he hopped on the High remix with Juvenile and helped the motherfucking Cash Money take off. And then I remember when the whole Jeezy wave was coming in with BMF, he was the big homie. And he had to, and when he jumped on the Jeezy remix, he got Jeezy pop. No, Jeezy been popping. I'm not saying that he got Jeezy popping like that. I'm just saying that he had his hand in a lot of these quote unquote relevant movements that a lot of these current day rappers are following those blueprints. That's the shit that they're moving with. So relevancy is in the eyes of the beholder. You know, relevancy is in the eyes of the beholder. You don't got to be in the club all the time. You don't have to have, you got classics. Don't tell me that they can't put on a few Hove classics down south and nigga, y'all don't ever hear that. That's, you know, they never play a Hove classic. They never play a Nas classic. And if that's the case, then shit, why that shit should change. I'm speaking more in defense of a Nas in a sense, even though he don't make that much club music. Every artist is not for the clubs. Every artist is not for the strip clubs. But every artist is definitely for the car. You know. And then the streams are, the whole streams is crazy. Like, whatever, you know. Like I said, I was engaging y'all. Yeah, I was giving some great points, you know. And yes, none of these artists are relevant low key, to be honest with you. They are not relevant in that sense low key. You dig? Because like I said, relevance is in the eye of the beholder, right? But once again, speaking from the perspective of, that's why I prefaced it and said hip hop, right? Speaking from the perspective of a hip hop fan, not to take anything away from people who see, you know, relevance in other people who are doing way more work and are way more relevant and way more important. That's not necessarily what I'm touching on. I'm only mainly touching on the culture of hip hop and where some of these artists stand in relations to, you know, some of the things that they're doing. You dig? Even though having spirits, right, getting rich off of spirits is something that someone would deem morally, you know, bankrupt or morally abject and whatnot. However, you know, it's like I said, this is the club. This is something that we were all familiar with. You know what I'm talking about? This is where people go to, this is where they go to do ceremony, you know? And not to say that the liquor is only sold in the clubs, but I'm not going to become the moral authority on people, you know, owning spirits and whatnot, or selling what is known as the spirits. You know, that's something that they got to deal with. But it exists, you know what I mean? It's here. And these are the avenues that some of these men in our culture have used and utilized to get themselves where they need to be. You know, and they all suspect in the sense that, you know, their allegiances are not with the, you know, what I call the people. You know, they've all served their share of fooling the people, misleading the people, misguiding the people. You know, that's the contradictions of what you call the music artists. You know what I mean? A majority of them. But then there's other artists that are straight upright And, you know, they don't got no blemishes on their records. As Black children and women, hip hop is not relevant to us. It was detrimental to the Black family. All these petty arguments amongst our Black men is not addressing the bigger issues. It's all ego. Well, that's a perspective. Well, like I said, it's all about perspective. In my world, where I'm from, Black women, Black children, Black men, you know, this is the music and this is the culture that they rock with, you know, and even their consciousness, you know what I'm saying? Because hip hop and consciousness are intertwined. It's the same thing. You got hip hop artists that are conscious, and you got conscious people that are hip hop artists. You know what I mean? They're rhyming, they putting it in their rhymes. This whole thing is connected. So I understand what you're saying, and I respect that because it's all about perspectives. And I definitely know the perspective that you're speaking from. And this is something that I could agree with. However, me as a participant in hip hop, a fan, a child of it, you know, I would say until I begin to, you know, until I listen to Afrobeat only or jazz only or any other form of music of a different vibration, my mission is to teach those that are in the culture how to use the culture to their benefit and how to make this thing work for yourself, because it's worked for us since it's been created. It's worked for us, you know. It's worked for us, but we're much more than this, of course. And like I said, from the perspective that I'm in, I'm seeing the evolution. I'm seeing young men and young women and children open up their eyes and begin to break some certain type of spells that they have on them, because music, right, it has a way to cast spells. And a lot of people, it looks as if they're underneath a spell. They're underneath a spell. But people are saying it's bigger than music. The cosmos is speaking. The cosmos is the music. What are you talking about? The cosmos is the music. The cosmos makes music. You know what I'm talking about? This is all about sound. It's all about frequency. That's what your whole world is made up of. You know, some of us is tapping into lower frequencies, and there's no balance. There's no balance. It's just low gutter frequencies. And they in that sunken place, shit, like they underwater, you know. They got anchors on their ankles. And then there's other people who take sound baths and they know how to balance that stuff. And it's a divine balance. They got a little bit of low energy, a little bit of higher energy, and they just make it work. You know? So it really boils down to that. Like, there's a lot of artists in this community who are raising the frequencies. I say their names on purpose. You know, I'm not getting paid to say nobody's name and promote them. You know what I'm talking about? People charge for that. For a shout out, that's a bag. Nigga, that's a big cash app. To say somebody's name on these networks when you got all of these people and you know that you can influence, you can make something blow up just by speaking on it. You can make a article of clothing take off just by wearing it. Today I got the Ralph Lauren on. You know what I'm talking about? Ralph Lipskin, who happens to be a Ashkenazi, right? Got the teddy bear on, right? Because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I did a video where I was talking about the importance of representing the designers who come from our tribe, right? The many new companies that are out there with the fire ass gear, right? But what I also mentioned is that me personally, I've given many of those different brands looks over the years to help push them and to help get them started. And that's something that I will continue to do until the last day. But when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I gotta check myself. You know what I mean? I had to have a movement. I had to have a moment where I had to really check myself and be like, my nigga, you not the fashion police. You can't be telling nobody what to wear. So I want to publicly say that when I can't shame nobody for their fashion sense. I can't shame nobody for the fabrics that they put on their body. I can't shame nobody for the sneakers that they wearing. Anything that you wear on your uniform that you work hard for, or that you know that this shit is something that it's not an evil sweater, or it's not a motherfucking a sellout hat or whatnot, and you want to rock that shit. We need to kind of like check ourselves in sense, because that also is a slippery slope, and that leads to a lot of ego, like the sister said. You know what I mean? That turns into ego where you got men telling other men what the fuck they could wear and what they can't wear. You know what I'm talking about? Like, nah, that's not that ain't it right there. That ain't it right there. You know, just respectfully, I'm just saying there's a line though. Don't wear no women's clothes around me, my nigga. There's a line. You feel me? I'm not letting this shit just be open-ended like that. But what I am saying is whatever you decide your drip is, that's on you. I'm not here. I'm not the drip police. I'm not the fashion police. Rock out, my genius. This shit right here is my childhood. You know what I'm talking about? This shit right here, this is part of my DNA. This polo shit. Yeah, this is never going anywhere. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. You dig? And I'm not an addict for no polo. To be honest with you, I haven't worn that shit in many years because I've been rocking my own shit and pushing my own, design language and whatnot. But I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. You know, I give life to clothes. I make the clothes. Clothes don't make me. But it just, to me, this is therapeutic. You know, it takes me back into my younger years. You know, it's able to put me in that mind state that I could go into where I could do a lot of work. It's the uniform. You know what I'm talking about? You could literally dress up like something and actually become that. Like you could, what they say, it's all about feelings, right? You know, they say it's all about the enthusiasm that you get when you're doing your rituals and whatnot. So do you see people at ceremony dressing like clowns? Do you see people in ceremonies, dressing other than, yeah, check that out. You see that Hebrew on their chest? Yeah, that's not Ralph Lauren. Nigga. That ain't Ralph though. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't Ralph though. Do you see, you get into character, cosplaying. You got people cosplaying. You got people that get into character. You got police officers, and when they put the police uniform on, that's when they go into their mode and whatnot. That's when they snap in. Firefighters, doctors, when they put their lab coats on. Shooters, when they put their vest on and whatnot. Soldiers, when they put the camouflage and the greens on. So that was the same thing with us when we put our beef and broccolis on with the army jacket, with the Uzi and the lining. When we put our motherfucking sheepskins on, when we put our 40 belows on. You know what I'm talking about? When we put our wheat Timbs on with the matching Coogee, my nigga. When we put our Avizu suits on, like we was going when we put the whole iceberg suit on, and it was Looney Tunes reminding us of our childhood, but the whole fit is 5 racks. Come on now. One thing that I'll never turn into is a hater of some good fabric, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I know in my past lifetime I was probably a fabric merchant or something, but I know a good outfit when I see one. I know a good fit when I see one, bro. And I've been through some magical garments, you know, throughout my years. I have an affinity to high value cotton, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? To high value cotton, you know, and the apparel industry, which for my pocket watches is $1 trillion plus industry. The #1 brand worldwide is Nike. You dig? You niggas had the opportunity to start chipping away at these niggas, and you could short the stock and make some bread. But you know, the influencers don't influence. Either the influencers ain't influencing, or people are not getting behind the scenes and taking the same type of approaches that, and I hate to say it, the BLM movement or some of those other George Soros run movements, where they, you know, they had a plan and they had a strategy and they executed, and you know that shit was it went viral. Is that beanie from the nah, nah, this ain't from cotton reparation. Nah. I don't, you know what? The funny thing about the cotton reparations, like what I learned as I got more mature, you know, especially when it came to my treasury that I own from my cotton reparations, those don't last forever. You know, those don't last forever. You feel me? Almost everything that I got from cotton reparations have been passed on to another dripper, you know, too numerous to even, and they all drifted naturally. It wasn't like nobody came boosting from around me, but nah, what I do have, my real reparations, is a collection of clothing that I made. I went from taking the clothes to making the clothes. So everything from like Kings County and on, that would be a lot of my collection and whatnot. You dig? So when I started making my own cotton and embossing it with my own motifs and designs, right, and my own vision, that's when the shit came to life. You know what I mean? That's one of my, yes, and that would be one of my highest passions, is designing apparel, creating clothing, manufacturing, production. You feel me? Like that's my passion right there. So I'm really gonna be getting back into that. You know, I'm really gonna be getting back into that. You dig? And yeah, we talk about that as well in the facts. Let me show y'all real quick. We had this workshop. Boom. This was on Wednesday, yesterday. We continue the rollout of the Facts Initiative, Food, Art, Clothes, Tech, Shelter, as we focus on Tier 1 and Tier 2 and highlight the plethora of signs and warnings over the last few months that highlight the collapse of an old system and the rapid rise of a new one. We would delve heavily into the subject of trust and what the benefits hold for you. All right. So anybody looking for the replay, you can find that on ktluniversity.com. It's over 4 hours long. And yeah, it was a great presentation. And we're also doing a part 2 for everybody that's a ticket holder. Look out for that date. It's coming soon. Did I see? I saw it died suddenly. Yes, I did. So did I see all of the crypto billionaires passing away? Yes, I did. I wanted to do a segment on that as well. The crypto billionaires are in the numbers are piling up. There was a drowning that took place in Puerto Rico. Thank you, Hood Healer. There was a drowning that took place of a crypto billionaire who tweeted that the CIA, and I believe he said the Mossad, was coming to get him, trying to kill him, right? This is what Ye is implying. There was a Russian billionaire who mysteriously died in a plane crash with his family on board just the other day in perfectly good weather and whatnot. Okay. And one of the passengers canceled their quote unquote flight at the last minute. And yes, this helicopter went down. Similar, and it gave me Kobe vibes, right? It gave me Kobe vibes when I heard it. And I was like, yo, gotta be very mindful of these aircrafts and whatnot in a way that they're able to manipulate them. You dig? And then there's another crypto billionaire who mysteriously died in his sleep, right? There's another crypto billionaire who mysteriously died in his sleep, okay? Yeah, and you had the Secret Service vehicles blowing up. Like, there's some shit going on outside, all right? There goes my email right there on the banner, on the bottom banner. Anybody needs to hit me up on the email, and let's go ahead and do this business. You dig? Mexicans got their own factory over there in the ATL. Yeah, it's a lot of factories out here. Uh-huh. There's a lot of factories out here. What was going on? Supposed school shootings in Georgia, the media was saying was a hoax. Well, there was not a school shooting that I know about, but there was a shooting in Atlantic Station, and a 13-year-old, a young man, a young boy, a black boy, got murdered, and about 6 people got shot. Right, so there's some things going on out there that with the youth that is becoming very unavoidable. You feel me? Unavoidable. Certain type of topics need to be addressed. So yeah. But yeah, I see that we are we're creeping up on a 2-hour mark, and it was a great show. We covered a lot. Bunch of hoax shootings in NC. They're saying that the teacher was actually a shooter. Wow. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to look into that. There's a lot of shit going on in in this retrograde, still and all. I'm talking about every day is something. Cheeto talk about every day. A lot of mass shootings, a lot of people snapping. You see the shit that happened in Walmart with the dude who I think he had child porn on his phone, black dude. He came in Walmart, shot up his employees. They had the other story with the brother who was being hazed by the football players. He went and killed 3 of them, right? Like I was saying, earlier, exactly a month ago on my show, you just got to keep your head on swivel. Yeah, he had CP on his phone, I heard. Mercury is coming to an end in 2020. Oh, Mercury retrograde. You're talking about Mars retrograde comes to an end in January, mid-January. So you still got to navigate through some of these choppy waters. Shit real out here. Like it begs for you to be on not playtime. I don't know what time to be on, but I definitely know it's not playtime. Can't be on goofy time. You feel me? You can't be on sleepwalker time. You can't be intoxicated off the Douce, right? And doped up off the lean and shit like that, and move through this maze that's out here. So I didn't say Mercury retrograde. I'm talking about the retrograde, the retrograde that started the Mars retrograde. That's what I'm referring. That's what I'm speaking of. Mercury is one thing. I've seen a lot of cancellations in the last few weeks of a lot of people who had to postpone and cancel shit, right? Seen a lot of that. So what it's showing me is that it's time to just be still. So you asking where I'm gonna be, I'm being still. You know, move when I need to, but I ain't planning too many things. I'm going with the flow. You dig? I ain't putting no ideas and plans like that. I'm working on what I'm working on, but as I move through the energy, you know, because this shit is bizarro world right now. This is some bizarro shit going on, and the snakes are outside biting niggas on the ankles. The vultures is vulturing. The snakes is snaking. You know what I'm talking about? The rats is ratting, bro. This Mars retro this shit got niggas out here tweaking, bro. Niggas is in these streets tweaking on the internet, in these streets. Know what I'm talking about? High in the air on Spirit Airline, on the slopes of Park Slope, nigga. They outside tweaking. You dig? And I don't want no smoke. You know what I'm talking about? Got too much work to do. On God. You know what I mean? I got too much work to do. So this is hibernation season. You dig? You see I got my cozy background. This hibernation season, the public is showing me that they're kind of dangerous, right? They put a picture of me where they got a empty soup can, and then a picture of Stephen Smith's face, Cancun. You know what I mean? They doing a lot of buck dancing. Yeah, I heard that 21 Savage song with Nas. Yeah, Nas was flowing. You know what I'm talking about? Nas was going in. I'm not going to tell nobody what to do with their time. I'm not even in that mode right now where I'm like, yo, this is I'm just already, I think I said what I needed to say, and I told people what needed to be told. And I already made my campaign pitch, you know what I'm saying? Like I declared this campaign to be started yesterday, you know what I mean? So we're in the midst of this Facts 24 initiative. And the first phase of it is me putting together this workbook, right? And also finishing up a lot of the internal work and getting this team together, you know what I mean? And making sure when we step out that we stepping out properly, amongst many other things. And just watching and observing and witnessing this whole shit fall in front of us and putting logs in the fire. You know what I'm talking about? I feed my IG logs and whatnot. I come on Melanin Monday, Third Eye. I've been feeding logs in the fire. You know what I'm talking about? Let me know if I've been wrong or if I've been off or I've been reaching or whatever over the past few months, building up to where we at right now. I'm pretty much, on top of things in terms of this narrative, because it's all about perspective, and perspective is all about the narrative, but it's also all about your ideas and your concepts. We're suffering as a people, in my humble opinion, because we've been inundated and we've been hijacked in a way, and we've been somewhat hypnotized by ideas and concepts that are not our own. And by that happening, it began to change not only the perspective, but it begins to change the direction that people begin to take. Now, case in point, this is something that I pointed out recently, that one of the negative effects of what is known as drill culture, right? Not to use drill music or drill culture as what people may perceive as the boogeyman. What I'm doing is I'm helping to show you how music and the culture helps to drive the ideas and the concepts that people utilize in shit like conflict resolution, right? Not only conflict resolution, right? How you deal with the next man or the next woman when it comes time to be the bigger person and to either choose peace over war. Now, in drill culture, the idea and the concept is what? You have an op. By having an op, you automatically have entered into this new type of death match where somebody has to die. It is built off of and based off of idea and concept wise off of avenging a death, avenging a body. Blood has to be spilled, right? That's how the game starts, with a body. The streets want a body, right? So this mindset or these ideas and these concepts have begun to shift the way that people are conflict resolution, because they've been adapting what is known as the drill culture, and the egregor in the drill culture, right, is going to begin to shift people's mind states, right, or the way that their ideas and concepts of how they handle what they perceive as an op. It could be a motherfucker to skip you in line. It could be somebody to skip you on a highway. Road rage, bodies, and homicides and shootings are at an all-time high. In Atlanta, the number two reason for gun violence is arguments, right? People are going at it and whatnot, and they're having conflicts, and then both people are strapped and whatnot, or one person is strapped, and that's leading to shootings, because the idea and the concept of drill culture dictates that the only conflict resolution is that you have to down your op, because if you don't take them out, they will take you out. It is a kill or be killed type of culture right now. It's been spilling over into the streets of Ghettosville, USA, and is being adapted through the airways that I suspect, because Blue Pill broke it down how they was able to take a virus and make a virus go viral through music, through the frequencies, because they all share the same frequency. So they're able to spread viruses through the music. Go and do the scientific research, right? It's out there. Okay, I'm not shooting from the hip. I'm not making this up. The research is out there. So the culture, right? And Pop Smoke was a sacrifice, because when his body dropped, when his blood was spilled, right, he became like a martyr or a saint for that, quote unquote. He became the sacrifice, right? He was a king in that world, right? He was a king. They were already christening him King of New York in his earliest stages. And the king was sacrificed. Remember, this is the crucifixion. This is the killing of the king. So when his body dropped, or when his soul, he has a messianic force on him as well. very strong messianic force. So when he was sacrificed, I believe he was assassinated. I did not see the Van Lathan thing where they are doing, because I'm not the biggest Van Lathan fan. It takes a lot for me to stomach him. And I didn't get that episode, but I'm going to watch it. But my spirit tells me that the woman, the Russian or whatever she was, maybe Israelian, right? Maybe she was from Israel. But it's giving setup. Like, nigga, it's giving line him up. Remember, he had beef with the Russians or the Albanians because of the, they put a federal case on him and said that he stole a Rolls Royce from them. And then he gets murked with an Albanian. But anyway, his blood made the drill culture explode, and it became commercial. And what I'm saying is, I remember how people dealt with their conflicts just a few years ago. It was slightly different. We're talking about little children, 11 and 12, all the way up to old heads are underneath this type of spell. So the ideas and the concepts are what we should focus on manipulating and ultimately changing to fit the agenda that will serve, right, its purpose. Let's just say that. The entities like theater. Yes, they do. So I could name a whole bunch of ideas and concepts that are prevalent, that are what Boozy said, relevant. You're not relevant in the club because down south, this is all they play, right? So this is what these people are being programmed by. These are the frequencies, these are the mantras, these are the messages. And I'm not speaking down on the South, and I'm not talking from a high, like I'm on a high horse, none of that. I've been in the South, like I said, since 97, when my hands was in the dirt out here, really getting it in. And I planted many seeds all the way back then. And I've seen all of these seeds grow into what they are, and they bear fruit. So I could speak on the culture because I was a part of it, right? And I know the messages that a lot of the music has and whatnot. So it's the ideas and the concepts that could be tweaked. As much as I could judge a Jay-Z character, right? I know the idea and the concept of being able to mature from being a rapper into a businessman, into an owner of a record label, into into somebody who is putting a team on and whatnot. Not necessarily using him as the only example, because he's not. He ain't the blueprint of that. He wasn't the first one to do that. But the fact that I know that people will get inspiration the same way that they get inspiration from Lil Boozy, because he's a boss to mad people in the South. He's a boss to them. The shit that he's doing is boss. And the shit that a Jay-Z is doing will be boss to somebody from the North, the South, the West, the East, because I don't want to do this regional shit, because it ain't even about that, bro. I don't, that's not something that I even like to entertain, the South and the North. You know what I mean? Like, when I travel, we everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? We everywhere. When I'm in the West Coast, it's filled up with people from all over. When I'm in the South, it's filled up with people from all over. When I'm in the North now, it's filled up with people from the Midwest, the South, and the West. They're in New York. They're on the East Coast. You know what I mean? When it comes to yo, y'all listen to Griselda, you know what I mean? And I saw a comment where the sister was talking about the Griselda music and how it's low frequency. And it is. You know? It is. And yeah, they position themselves as low frequency art. You know? And it has its frequencies, but it also has a balance to it. The balance is in the production, it's in the music, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? The Alchemist, the what's his name? They have the other in-house producers. That sound right there, that shit is fire. That bringing back that boom bap and whatnot. And you know, they spit they shit. You know? They spit they shit. In the game of life or in this movie, you got heroes and villains. You got your anti-heroes. You're gonna have motherfuckers that talking that real street murder, death, kill, flip a brick, all of that. And then they'll evolve. Because everybody starts out, Derringer. Everybody starts out where they start out. I never said Jay-Z is on the up and up. You know, never said that he was on the up and up. That wasn't what it was that I was speaking of in terms of that. You know, the goddess will be returned. I feel like the goddess is being returned. It's in place right now. It's in place right now. This whole shit that's moving around is not outside of the realms of, you know, making sure that the goddess is getting her rightful place. You dig? I'm gonna go check that out. Yeah, you can't have heroes without villains. Yeah, he's the anti-hero. We're in that era. He's an anti-hero. There's many of those. That's what hip hop is built off of. The anti-hero. Say goodbye to the bad guy. Lizzie Jeff over SZA. Yeah. But what about Lizzie Jeff and SZA? My thing is, shine your light so bright that you infect the culture. Are you changing the culture or is the culture changing you? Right? There's two people on this planet. There's people who change the culture and there's people who the culture changed. So when you really tapped in and you really moving like a movement and whatnot, you could shake this shit up if you so please, and you will begin to affect other people with your demonstration, your lights, because you like that. Ye are gods. All right. Love and light to the family. I appreciate y'all. We're going to chop it up. You dig? I'll see y'all on Melanin Monday. Until then, stay dangerous.
It's a movie. A movie. Facts. 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 Okay. The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath the rap. Facts. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. That's J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only Pope with your knowledge, your nigga is Paulo. At these
these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, this not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grand, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we had. Facts.
Started in Richmond, art of my district. Heart of the mystics, parted for biscuits. Father to Isfits, martyr to misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with State Street, art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for tech, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres on acres, get lost in the dark. We playing a part, we playing it smart. Facts, facts, okay.
The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grand, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back.